When Dave Thomas opened the first Wendy's in 1969, many critics believed it would fail. They said America didn't need another fast food restaurant. Burger King even paid for a detailed study that predicted Wendy's higher burger prices would drive the company into bankruptcy. Fast forward 55 years, and Wendy's now operates more than 7,000 locations across 30 countries, generating over $14.5 billion in system-wide sales. Looking at its success today, it's hard to imagine that Wendy's began with a shy man who was abandoned as a child, dropped out of school, and struggled to keep a steady job. The one thing Dave Thomas never gave up on was his dream of opening his own restaurant. This is the story of how a man with just $40 in his pocket built a multi-billion-dollar burger empire, long after McDonald's and Burger King had already dominated the market. Dave Thomas was born on July 2, 1932 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. His biological mother was young, unmarried, and unprepared to raise a child. Just 6 weeks after his birth, she placed him in an adoption agency and left him behind. 6 months later, Dave was adopted by Rex and Alva Thomas, who never told him the truth about his adoption. Despite being adopted, Dave never experienced a stable family life. When he was just 5 years old, Alva passed away from rheumatic fever, leaving him alone with his strict and short-tempered adoptive father. Rex worked hard but was rarely present. He struggled to find steady work, forcing the two to move constantly from state to state, living in small boarding houses and cramped trailers. Eventually, Rex remarried, but Dave's new stepmother was harsh and controlling. She frequently argued with him, and his father often sided with her. This environment made Dave feel isolated and unwanted, causing him to become extremely quiet and shy. When the marriage failed, Dave and his father moved again, this time into a tiny apartment with no kitchen. Because of this, they often ate at restaurants. Eating out became the highlight of Dave's day. It was the only time he spent with his father, and he always ordered hamburgers. While sitting in diners, Dave watched other families laugh together, care for their children, and enjoy each other's company. That's when he realized something important. Restaurants weren't just places to eat, they were places where people felt safe and connected. At just 8 years old, Dave made a promise to himself. One day he would open his own restaurant, a place where people could feel the warmth and comfort he never had at home. That childhood decision would eventually lead to one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. Since home was never comfortable, Dave began looking for work at the age of 10. He lied about his age and applied to multiple restaurants, but was rejected every time. Instead, he worked a series of short-term jobs, including at a gas station, grocery store, bowling alley, and as a newspaper delivery boy. At 12 years old, he was fired from Walgreens after his real age was discovered. Soon after, he finally landed a job at Regis Restaurant in Knoxville, Tennessee. There, Dave learned everything he could about the restaurant business, from kitchen operations to customer service. Unfortunately, just as he found stability, his family moved again, this time to Fort Wayne, Indiana. By age 14, Dave had developed a strong work ethic and quickly found a job at the Hobby House, a popular local restaurant. It was there that he met Phil Klaus, the restaurant's owner. Phil wasn't just a businessman, he worked alongside his employees, cleaning floors and washing dishes without complaint. Dave admired him deeply and pushed himself harder because of it. By the end of the school year, Dave earned more hours, a raise, and a spot in the kitchen. For the first time, he felt proud of himself. But soon after, his father announced another move. This time, Dave refused to leave. At just 15 years old, he chose to stay behind and live on his own. Dave worked over 50 hours a week while attending school at night. Eventually, school no longer felt relevant. Everything he wanted to learn was happening in the kitchen, so he dropped out. In 1950, when the Korean War began, Dave enlisted early and volunteered to work in the military kitchen. His dedication earned him a promotion to staff sergeant at just 18. Stationed in Germany, Dave cooked for thousands of soldiers under intense pressure. By the time he returned home in 1953, he wasn't just a cook, he was a leader. Back at the hobby house, he worked his way up to manager and later married a waitress named Lorraine. By 1956, they had 2 children, but Dave's $75 a week salary wasn't enough. Around this time, Phil introduced Dave to Colonel Harlan Sanders, the founder of KFC. Sanders was traveling the country franchising his fried chicken recipe. When KFC was added to the hobby house menu, sales exploded. Dave later improved operations by creating a separate takeout area, one of the earliest examples of carry-out service in the restaurant industry. By 1962, Dave was offered a deal to rescue 4 failing KFC locations in Columbus, Ohio. In exchange, he would receive 40% ownership for just $65. With only $40 in his pocket, Dave took the risk. Within 6 years, those locations became wildly successful. When KFC began buying back franchises in 1968, Dave sold his shares for over $1.5 million. At 37 years old, Dave was a self-made millionaire, but he wasn't fulfilled. After a brief and unexciting job managing another franchise, he finally decided to pursue his lifelong dream, opening his Bone Burger restaurant. In 1969, Dave opened the first Wendy's in Columbus, Ohio. He focused on fresh ingredients, simple menus, and quality food. His burgers were square, made from never-frozen beef, and served in a warm, family-friendly environment. Despite criticism and higher prices, Wendy's quickly became profitable. Dave later introduced drive-through service, franchising strategies, and bold advertising campaigns like "Where's the Beef?" Wendy's growth was explosive. Within 10 years, it became the first restaurant chain to surpass $1 billion in annual sales. After stepping away in the early 1980s, Wendy's struggled. Dave returned, refocused the brand on quality, and became the face of the company in over 800 commercials. The turnaround was massive, restoring Wendy's success and reputation. Later in life, Dave founded the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, helping children find permanent homes. He passed away in 2002 at age 69. Today, Wendy's remains one of the largest hamburger chains in the world, proof that a simple dream held on to long enough can change everything.